Chosen one, why does it feel like God has been holding something back from you? Why have you been praying for breakthrough, crying out for answers, believing for decades, and still waiting? And what if I told you that everything heaven has been withholding, everything you've been aching for, has an expiration date, and that date is December 3rd. Listen to me carefully. December 3rd is not a date on your calendar, it's a doorway in the spirit. And if you walk past it like an ordinary Tuesday, if you scroll through this day, distracted by bills and doctor's appointments and the noise of this world, you may walk past the very blessing God finally placed in your path after years of preparation. I know that sounds impossible. I know you're sitting there thinking, another date? Another promise? But something happened in the heavens 3 nights ago at 2:47 a.m. that I cannot ignore, and neither can you, chosen one. The pages of your destiny turn on December 3rd, whether you are ready or not. You see, there's a mystery woven into time itself, specific days when heaven and earth align, when the veil grows thin, when what has been sealed suddenly opens. Moses had his burning bush moment on a specific day. Mary received her angelic visitation on a specific day. Jesus walked out of that tomb on a specific day. And you, yes, you, sitting there with decades of prayers stored up in golden bowls before the throne you have been assigned December 3rd. But here's what breaks my heart. Some of you listening right now, especially those who have lived long, seen much, endured storms that would have destroyed weaker souls, you've grown numb to promises. You've heard it all before. You've stopped believing that God still has something magnificent planned for your final chapters. That numbness could cost you everything. Before I go deeper, I want to pause and thank every single one of you who has supported this message through Super Thanks. Your generosity means more than you know. You're not just donating, you're helping spread light to others who feel alone in their calling. Whether you give or not, I'm deeply grateful for your presence here. Your support, your time, your attention, it all matters. And if this message resonates with your soul, go ahead and let the Spirit lead. But right now, listen, there is something God has been holding back, not because He's cruel, not because He's forgotten you, but because the blessing He's prepared requires the right moment, the right alignment, the right spiritual atmosphere. And that moment is December 3rd. Why is heaven highlighting this day? What happens if you ignore it? And what exactly is heaven trying to release through you before this year ends? If you feel this already tugging at your spirit, if something ancient inside you just stirred awake, don't watch this passively. Type "I'm listening" in the comments right now. Engage your faith. Because what I'm about to reveal in the next few minutes will either confirm what your spirit already knows, or shatter every excuse you've been using to stay comfortable. The doorway is opening. The question is, will you walk through it? What happens when God marks a day on heaven's calendar and you walk past it distracted? What price do you pay when divine timing collides with your life and you're too numb, too tired, too defeated to notice? And tell me this, how many blessings have already passed you by because you treated sacred moments like ordinary Tuesdays? Let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. In Scripture, God doesn't operate on our schedules. He marks certain days, specific days, days when heaven holds its breath and waits to see if you'll show up. And if you miss them, if you're not spiritually awake when they arrive, you don't just miss a blessing, you miss the miracle that was custom designed for your exact situation. Think about Passover night, Exodus chapter 12. God told the Israelites, "On this night, at this hour, put the blood on your doorposts." Not tomorrow, not when it's convenient. That specific night. And what happened to those who obeyed? Death passed over them. Their firstborn lived. Their families were spared. But just imagine if someone had said, "I'll do it next week. I'm tired." I've heard promises before. That delay would have cost them everything. Think about Noah. Genesis 7:1. On this day, enter the ark. Not next month when the weather clears. That day. And what happened? 7 days later, the flood came. 7 days. If Noah had procrastinated, If he'd treated God's specific timing like a suggestion, an entire family line would have been erased from history. Think about David walking onto that battlefield to face Goliath, 1 Samuel 17. That morning wasn't random. That was the appointed hour when a shepherd boy would become a legend. If David had stayed home that day, if he'd let fear or doubt keep him in the sheep fields, Israel would have remained in bondage to the Philistines. One day, one decision, one choice to show up when heaven called. Do you see the pattern? God marks days, heaven signs them with divine ink, and those who recognize them, who respond to them, who step into them with faith, their entire destiny shifts in 24 hours. December 3rd is one of those days, not symbolic, not metaphorical, specific. I can already hear some of you resisting. Another date? Another promise that won't come true? And I understand. Believe me, I understand. Many of you have lived 70, 80, 90 years. You've heard prophecies that didn't manifest. You've believed for breakthroughs that never came. You've stood on promises that seemed to crumble beneath your feet like sand. But what if your timing was off? What if you were believing for the right thing but showing up on the wrong day? What if God has been saying December 3rd and you've been saying any day now? Let me speak directly to those of you who have waited your entire life for something. That prodigal child who left 30 years ago and never came home. That marriage that died and left you wondering if love was even real. That financial collapse that buried your retirement dreams. That physical pain that the doctors can't explain and the prayers haven't healed. That deep, aching loneliness that follows you even in crowded rooms. December 3rd is heaven's appointment with your soul. But here's what's going to pierce your heart. Here's the truth that most preachers won't tell you because it's too uncomfortable, too confrontational, too raw. Ignoring this day won't make the blessing disappear into nothing. God doesn't destroy what He's prepared for you, but He will give it to someone else. He'll find another vessel, another willing heart, another person who's awake enough, desperate enough, faithful enough to recognize divine timing when it arrives. Think about Esau, Genesis 25. He had a birthright. It was his, prepared for him, assigned to him. But one day, one moment of carelessness, one decision to satisfy immediate hunger, instead of honoring what was sacred, he traded his entire future for a bowl of soup. And that birthright? It went to his brother Jacob. Esau didn't lose it to an enemy. He forfeited it through neglect. What God planned is time-sensitive, beloved. Heaven is waiting, hell is watching, and you must choose. You see, the enemy doesn't need to destroy you. He just needs to distract you. He doesn't need to kill your calling. He just needs to make you miss your moment. And right now, at this very second, demonic forces are working overtime to keep you numb, to keep you scrolling, to keep you treating December 3rd like any other day on the calendar. But something shifted in the heavenlies 72 hours ago. I don't say this lightly. I don't speak carelessly about dates and times. But there was a sound, a rumbling in the spirit realm, like locks turning, like doors creaking open, like something that's been sealed for decades is finally ready to be released. And it's connected to you, to your bloodline, to your family, to the prayers your grandmother whispered 50 years ago, to the tears your mother cried in secret, to the sacrifices you've made that nobody ever saw, to the faithfulness you've maintained when every logical reason said quit. December 3rd is the convergence of all of it. Before I go deeper, I need you to do something right now, not later. Not after you finish watching. Right now. Whisper where you are in your living room, in your car, lying in your bed. Whisper these words. Lord, I will not miss your day. Say it. Let heaven hear you. Let the angels take notice. Let hell tremble, because a chosen one just woke up. Because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly what heaven has been holding in reserve. Exactly why December 3rd carries the weight of eternity, and exactly what you need to do in the next 72 hours to position yourself for the release that's coming. But you have to understand, this isn't automatic. This isn't something that just happens to you while you sleep. This requires your participation, your awareness, your intentional response to what God is doing. So the question burning in the spirit right now is this: will you recognize the day when it comes, or will you be the one who looks back in 6 months wondering why nothing changed? You've been feeling it, haven't you? That weight, that heaviness that's settled over your spirit in the last few weeks. Maybe it's been the loneliness deeper than usual, sharper, cutting into your chest at 3 a.m. when the house is too quiet and the phone never rings. Maybe it's the fatigue that no amount of sleep can touch, the kind that makes you wonder if your body is finally giving up on you. Or maybe it's been the voices, the whispers in your own mind telling you that you're too old now, too late, too tired to believe God still has plans for you, that your season of significance passed you by 20 years ago, and now all that's left is to exist quietly until heaven calls you home. Listen to me carefully, chosen one. Those struggles were not random. That pain was not coincidence. And that sudden surge of discouragement right now, in these final weeks of the year, that was strategic. The enemy always attacks hardest right before heaven delivers. Think about it. Look back at your life. Every major breakthrough you've ever experienced, didn't it come right after your darkest season? Didn't the door open right after you almost gave up? Didn't the answer arrive right after you'd cried your last tear? That's not accident. That's pattern. That's spiritual warfare operating on a timeline you can't see but your spirit can feel. Job 1-6 tells us something chilling. Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also among them. The enemy has access to information. He knows when God is about to move. He knows when blessing is scheduled. He knows when breakthrough has been authorized from the throne room. And when he knows, he strikes. You think that health flare-up last Tuesday was just your arthritis acting up. You think that argument with your daughter was just miscommunication. You think that financial setback was just bad timing. No, beloved. Those were arrows aimed at your faith, fired with precision, designed to make you too discouraged to recognize December 3rd when it arrives. Hell doesn't waste ammunition on the insignificant. Hell doesn't deploy demons against people carrying nothing. If you've been under attack, it's because you're carrying something the kingdom of darkness cannot afford to see activated. You are not being attacked because you're weak. You're being attacked because you're loaded with destiny. Let me paint you a picture. Imagine a thief casing a neighborhood. Does he break into the empty house? Does he risk everything for the abandoned property with nothing inside? No. He targets the house that's full. He goes after the one carrying treasure. Your recent battles are proof that something enormous is coming. The intensity of the warfare is proportional to the magnitude of what's about to be released. Moses faced Pharaoh's hardest resistance right before the Red Sea parted. David faced Goliath's loudest mockery right before the giant fell. Jesus faced his most vicious temptation in the wilderness right before he stepped into world-changing ministry. And you? You're facing your fiercest opposition right before December 3rd because hell has read the schedule. The demons assigned to your life have been in emergency sessions, strategizing how to keep you distracted, defeated, and too numb to respond when heaven opens that door. But here's what they didn't count on. Here's what makes the enemy's plans crumble. You're still here, you're still breathing, you're still listening to this message. Every attack that was designed to take you out has failed, because failure is the only option. When hell declares war on someone, heaven has marked. 2 Corinthians 4:8-9 declares it with thunder. We are hard-pressed on every side, but not crushed, perplexed, but not in despair, persecuted, but not abandoned, struck down, but not destroyed. That's you, chosen one. Pressed but not crushed, struck but not destroyed. Still standing when you should have fallen. That sudden wave of depression that hit you last month, that was hell trying to blind you to what's coming. That unexpected bill that drained your account, that was the enemy trying to convince you God isn't providing. That phone call that never came, that invitation you didn't receive, that person who walked away. Strategic distractions designed to make you believe you've been forgotten. But God doesn't forget His promises. Numbers 23:19 settles it. God is not a man that He should lie, nor a son of man that He should change His mind. Does He speak and then not act? Does He promise and not fulfill? Your blessing has a schedule. Your breakthrough has a date. Your deliverance has been authorized. And hell knows the schedule. That's why it tried to stop you. That's why the attacks intensified. That's why everything seemed to fall apart right when you thought you were finally getting ahead. The closer you get to December 3rd, the louder the opposition becomes. But that noise, that chaos, that sudden surge of everything going wrong, it's not evidence of God's absence. It's confirmation of His imminent arrival. So, let me ask you something that's going to cut through every lie you've been believing. If you were truly irrelevant, if your season was truly over, if God was truly done with you, why is hell working overtime to keep you down? The enemy doesn't attack the empty. Hell attacks the chosen. And right now, as these words wash over your spirit, something is shifting. You're beginning to remember who you are underneath all the discouragement. You're starting to recognize the warfare for what it really is. Confirmation that December 3rd carries something with your name written on it. If this is resonating in your chest right now, if you feel that fire starting to burn again, if something deep inside you is saying, I won't be stopped, type those exact words in the comments. I won't be stopped. Fire back spiritually. Let hell know it failed. Let heaven know you're ready. Because the attack you've been under wasn't meant to destroy you. It was meant to distract you from seeing what's about to be unveiled. But now your eyes are open. Now you understand the warfare. Now you know why these last few weeks have been so brutal. The question that will determine everything is this. Now that you know what the enemy was trying to prevent, what are you going to do about it? Now let me tell you something that's going to shake you to your core. December 3rd is not just another day. God circled on heaven's calendar for no reason. This is the day God evaluates what you've learned in your silent seasons. Every tear you cried when nobody was watching. Every prayer you whispered at 3 a.m. when sleep wouldn't come. Every moment you chose faith over fear when your bank account screamed otherwise. Heaven has been taking notes. And December 3rd is evaluation day. But here's what most people don't understand about divine timing. God doesn't work in random patterns. He works in cycles. 7-year cycles, 40-day cycles, 3-day resurrections. And right now, beloved, you are standing at the end of a cycle that has tested you, refined you, and prepared you for what's coming next. December 3rd marks 3 sacred movements in the spirit realm. And if you miss them, you'll spend the next season wondering why the door closed before you even knew it was open. The first movement is the day of alignment. Listen to me carefully. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven. But what most preachers won't tell you is this: when one season ends and another begins, there's a threshold moment, a single day when old cycles shut down and new ones activate. That day is December 3rd. Think about your life right now. How many years have you been cycling through the same struggles? The same financial pressure that shows up every November? The same loneliness that grips you every holiday season? The same health battles that flare up like clockwork? You've been trapped in a loop, and you're exhausted. But December 3rd is the day that loop breaks. Not because you tried harder, not because you finally figured it out, but because heaven says, enough. The old cycle is over. The new one begins now. The second movement is the day of release. Job 14:14 asks, If a man dies, shall he live again? All the days of my hard service I will wait till my change comes. Your change has a date. And for some of you listening right now, especially those who've been waiting for decades, who've buried dreams, who've accepted that some prayers just don't get answered, December 3rd is your release date. There is something God has been withholding. Not because he's cruel, but because the timing wasn't right. The ground wasn't ready. You weren't ready. But something shifted in the heavens 3 weeks ago. Angels received new assignments. Doors that have been sealed for years are being unlocked. Financial streams that dried up are being redirected back to your address. And it all begins to pour on December 3rd. I'm talking about the inheritance you thought was lost. The relationship you thought was dead. The health you thought was gone forever. The purpose you thought expired with your youth. God has been holding it in his hands, waiting for the exact moment when releasing it wouldn't destroy you but establish you. That moment is December 3rd. The third movement is the day of reversal. Romans 8:28 promises, "All things work together for good to them that love God." But beloved, there comes a day when what has been working against you suddenly starts working for you. When the enemy that chased you becomes the servant that provides for you. When the wilderness that tried to kill you becomes the training ground that qualifies you. December 3rd is your reversal day. That diagnosis the doctors gave you, it's about to bow to the great physician. That debt that's been choking you for years, heaven's about to cancel it in ways you never saw coming. Those children who walked away, God's about to turn their hearts back home. That loneliness that's made you question your worth, you're about to discover you were never alone. You were being prepared for sacred companionship. But here's the part that terrifies me, and it should terrify you too. December 3rd is heaven's yes, but it breaks open only for those who show up in obedience. Think of your life as a locked vault. For years, you've been standing in front of it, knowing something precious is inside, but you couldn't find the keyhole. You've walked around it, prayed over it, cried beside it. But December 3rd is the only day the keyhole appears. One day, one moment. One chance to insert the key of obedience and watch everything God has been storing for you come flooding out. Miss that day, scroll past it distracted, ignore it in unbelief, treat it like every other Tuesday, and the keyhole disappears. The vault stays locked, and you'll spend the next year, maybe the rest of your life, wondering what was behind that door. Isaiah 55:6 warns, "Seek the Lord while he may be found, call upon him while he is near." There are moments when God is near, and there are moments when the opportunity passes. December 3rd is a near moment. Don't let it become a past moment. Chosen ones, right now, wherever you are, whisper these words with me, "Unlock me, Lord." Say it again. Unlock me, Lord. Let your spirit respond to what your mind can't fully comprehend yet, because what I'm about to reveal next will show you exactly what you need to do on December 3rd and what will happen if you don't. Now listen to me, beloved. December 3rd is coming whether you're ready or not. But here's the truth that's going to shake you. God will not force a blessing through a closed fist. He will not pour new wine into old wineskins. And he will not release what he's prepared for you if you're still clutching the very things that have kept you bound for decades. So before that doorway opens, before heaven releases what it's been holding, there are 4 requirements God is asking of you. Not suggestions, requirements. And I need you to hear me clearly. These aren't religious rituals to make you feel better. These are spiritual preparations that will determine whether you walk through that door or watch it close forever. Requirement number 1, release the weight. You cannot enter December 3rd carrying grudges, regrets, or bitterness from 1987. You cannot step into your divine appointment while dragging chains from your past. Some of you are still angry at your daughter for what she said 15 years ago. Some of you are still bitter about that business partner who betrayed you in 2003. Some of you are still holding on to shame from mistakes you made when you were 35 years old. And God is saying tonight, let it go. Matthew 6:14 says it plainly, "For if you forgive others their trespasses, your heavenly Father will also forgive you." But here's what most people miss. Forgiveness isn't just about the other person. It's about unlocking your own future. Every grudge you hold is a lock on the door God is trying to open. Every bitter root is a blockage in the pipeline of blessing. I know it hurts. I know they didn't deserve your forgiveness. I know you earned the right to be angry. But the question isn't what they deserve. The question is, what are you willing to sacrifice to receive what God has for you? Your bitterness has cost you long enough. On December 3rd, it ends. Requirement number 2, silence the noise. You need to turn off every voice, internal and external, that has been whispering your time has passed. That voice that says at 73, at 81, at 68 years old, you're too late for God to use you in mighty ways. That voice that says your best chapters are behind you, that you should just accept your limitations and fade quietly into the background. That voice is a liar from the pit of hell. Caleb was 85 when he said, "Give me this mountain." Moses was 80 when he faced Pharaoh. Sarah was 90 when she gave birth to nations. Your age isn't your disqualification, it's your qualification. Every year you've lived, every storm you've survived, every tear you've cried has been preparing you for what God is about to release. But you must silence the noise. Stop listening to your grandchildren who think you're too old to dream. Stop agreeing with a culture that worships youth and discards wisdom. Stop letting your own doubts drown out the whisper of heaven saying, "I'm not done with you yet." Romans 12:2 commands us, "Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind." Your mind must be renewed before December 3rd. The lies must be replaced with truth. The doubt must be replaced with declaration. Requirement number 3, prepare your spirit. Right now, I want you to do something. Wherever you are in your living room, your bedroom, sitting in your car, I want you to place your hand over your heart. Feel it beating. That rhythm is proof you're still here for a reason. Now pray this with me. Father God, I stand before you not perfect, but present. I release every weight I've been carrying. I silence every voice that contradicts your word over my life. I prepare my spirit to receive what you've been holding for me. On December 3rd, I will not walk past my blessing. I will not ignore my divine appointment. I am ready. I am willing. I am yours. In Jesus' name, amen. That prayer just shifted something in the spiritual realm. Can you feel it? Requirement number 4, write your December 3rd declaration. Here's what I need you to do before December 3rd arrives. I need you to write down with your own hand on actual paper what you're believing God for. Not what you think is possible, not what seems reasonable at your age. What is God showing you? What has He been whispering to your spirit for years that you've been too afraid to speak out loud? Write it down, date it, sign it, because what you write becomes your spiritual anchor. When doubt comes, when fear whispers, when circumstances scream that it's impossible, you'll have that paper, that declaration, that agreement between you and heaven. Habakkuk 2:2 says, "Write the vision, make it plain on tablets, so he may run who reads it." Your written declaration is your covenant with God. It's your faith made visible. It's your stake in the ground that says, "I believe you, Lord, even when I can't see how." Your preparation is not for the day. The day is waiting for your preparation. December 3rd is marked on heaven's calendar. The question is, are you marked and ready to receive it? Chosen ones, if you're doing this work, if you're releasing, silencing, preparing, declaring, write this in the comments right now. I am preparing. Let heaven see your commitment. Let this community witness your faith. Because what you're about to walk into requires more than wishful thinking. It requires preparation, and the clock is ticking. You know what breaks my heart right now? It's the lie you've been carrying for too long. The lie that says your best days are behind you, that the dreams you buried with your youth are gone forever, that the blessings you prayed for in your 30s, your 40s, your 50s, they expired somewhere along the way, didn't they? But what if I told you that some blessings don't come when your hands are young and strong? What if the most precious gifts from heaven only arrive when your spirit has been seasoned by fire, refined by loss, and purified by decades of faithfulness that nobody saw? Listen to me carefully, dear one. God saw every disappointment, He counted every tear that fell on your pillow at 3 a.m. when you thought no one was watching. He heard every prayer you whispered through clenched teeth, begging for just one breakthrough before you leave this earth. Every birthday candle you blew out while wondering if anything good was left for you in this life. He was there, taking notes, storing up treasures you cannot yet see. And December 3rd is the day he's been circling on heaven's calendar. You see, there's a difference between giving up on God and growing weary in the waiting. You haven't given up. You're still here. You're still breathing. You're still believing, even when belief feels like lifting 1,000 pounds with arthritic hands. That's not weakness, beloved. That's the kind of faith that moves the heart of the Almighty. The Bible tells us in Isaiah 40:31, "They that wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." But here's what most people miss about that verse. It doesn't say they that wait for the Lord. It says wait upon. You've been carrying him through your waiting, serving him in your silence, worshipping him in your wilderness. And that kind of faithfulness doesn't go unnoticed in heaven. Right now, some of you are thinking about the marriage that ended, the children who stopped calling, the retirement fund that disappeared, the diagnosis that changed everything, the friends who became strangers. You look at your life and see a graveyard of dead dreams, don't you? But God is in the business of resurrection. And December 3rd is your Easter morning. Let me ask you something that's going to cut deep. What if the blessing you've been crying for couldn't come any sooner because you weren't ready for it yet? What if God has been protecting you from receiving something beautiful before you had the wisdom to steward it? What if every closed door, every delayed answer, every not yet from heaven was actually divine mercy preparing you for a yes so powerful it would have destroyed you 10 years ago? Think about Sarah, 90 years old when God finally opened her womb. 90. Her body had long passed the season of childbearing. Logic said it was impossible. Science said it was over. But Genesis 21:1 tells us, "The Lord visited Sarah as he had said, and the Lord did unto Sarah as he had spoken." God didn't just remember his promise, he fulfilled it with precision timing that only heaven could orchestrate. You think your season is over? God says your appointed time has arrived. You think you're too old? He says you're finally ready. You think it's too late? He says it's right on time. December 3rd is God saying to you and I need you to hear this in the deepest chamber of your heart. You are not forgotten. Your name is not buried in some celestial filing cabinet. Your prayers are not echoing in empty space. Your story is not done. The pen is still moving. The ink is still wet. And the final chapters are about to be written in glory that will make every painful page before it make perfect sense. But here's what's going to shock you. What you thought you lost forever, it's not coming back the same way. It's returning in a form stronger, purer, and more divine than you ever imagined possible. That relationship you grieved, God's bringing something deeper. That opportunity you missed, heaven's opening something greater. That dream that died, the Almighty is resurrecting it with supernatural breath that will leave you speechless. You're not getting back what was stolen. You're receiving what was stored. There's a massive difference. The enemy took things from you, thinking he won, but God was collecting every tear, every loss, every moment of pain, and storing it up as seed. And on December 3rd, that seed is about to produce a harvest so abundant you won't have room enough to contain it. This is your moment, chosen one. This is your suddenly after decades of not yet. This is your Red Sea parting after 40 years in the wilderness. This is your stone being rolled away after 3 days in the tomb. God is about to give you what you thought was gone forever. Not because you earned it, not because you're perfect, but because he's faithful and his timing is perfect. And December 3rd is the day he's chosen to shock the world through your testimony. If this is touching something deep in your spirit right now, if tears are forming because you just know this word is for you, type "I receive it" in the comments. Don't just read, participate, activate your faith. Say it with your whole heart. I receive what God has stored up for me. Because what happens next will require you to believe again when believing feels dangerous. Chosen one, we've arrived at the moment of truth, and I need you to hear what I'm about to say with every fiber of your being, because what happens next, what you do with December 3rd, will determine whether you step into the fullness of what God has been preparing, or whether you walk past it and spend the rest of your days wondering what could have been. Let me be brutally honest with you. If you ignore December 3rd, if you treat it like just another Tuesday on your calendar, you risk walking past the blessing that was meant to heal a lifetime of wounds. That depression that's followed you for 40 years, that financial curse that's haunted your family for 3 generations, that relationship that's been broken since 1987. God was ready to touch it on December 3rd. But ignoring a divine appointment doesn't just delay the blessing, it can forfeit it entirely. Listen to what happened to the children of Israel at Kadesh Barnea. Numbers 13 and 14 tell us that God brought them to the edge of the promised land. The land flowing with milk and honey was right there. All they had to do was step in. But they were afraid. They doubted. They hesitated. And because they missed their moment, because they ignored the day God had appointed for their breakthrough, an entire generation died in the wilderness. 40 years of circling the same mountain because they missed one day of obedience. You think that's harsh? You think that's unfair? No, beloved. That's what happens when heaven opens a door and we're too distracted, too doubtful, too numb to walk through it. If you ignore December 3rd, you risk repeating cycles God was trying to break. That pattern of lack, that spirit of disappointment, that feeling of always being overlooked, God scheduled its execution for December 3rd. But if you're not spiritually present, if you're not engaged with what heaven is doing, the cycle continues. Another year, another decade, another chapter of your life spent in the same prison. Ecclesiastes 3:1 says, "To everything there is a season, and a time to every purpose under heaven." But here's what most people miss: seasons have expiration dates. Windows close, moments pass, and when they do, you can't rewind the clock and get them back. I'm thinking right now about the man at the pool of Bethesda in John 5. 38 years he'd been sick. 38 years waiting for his miracle. And when Jesus showed up and asked him, "Do you want to be made whole?" the man started making excuses. He explained why it hadn't happened yet. He rationalized his condition. But Jesus didn't come to hear excuses. He came to heal. And if that man had kept talking instead of obeying, he would have missed the very moment heaven had orchestrated for his deliverance. You've been waiting long enough. You've been praying long enough. You've been believing long enough. And if you let December 3rd pass by because you're too busy, too skeptical, too tired, you risk delaying something heaven already approved. Not denied, approved, signed, sealed, waiting for you to show up. But here's where everything shifts. Here's where hope crashes into your desperation like lightning splitting the night sky. If you honor December 3rd, if you set aside the distractions, silence the doubt, and position yourself spiritually for what God is about to do, everything changes. The stronghold that's been mocking you, it falls. The door that's been locked, it opens. The blessing that's been delayed, it arrives. When Joshua honored the day God appointed to march around Jericho, walls that had stood for generations collapsed in a single moment. When Esther honored the appointed fast, an entire nation was saved from genocide. When Mary said yes to the angel's announcement, heaven itself took on flesh and dwelt among us. Your obedience to a divine moment carries more power than years of striving in your own strength. December 3rd is a crossing, beloved. It's not just a day, it's a threshold. You either step into it with faith, expectation, and spiritual alertness, or you step away from what God was finally ready to give. You either position yourself to receive, or you position yourself to regret. And I know some of you are thinking, but what if I miss it? What if I don't feel anything on December 3rd? What if nothing happens? That's fear talking. That's the voice of past disappointments trying to steal your future breakthrough. But Hebrews 11:6 reminds us that without faith it is impossible to please God. For he who comes to God must believe that he is, and that he is a rewarder of those who diligently seek him. God is not playing games with your life. He's not setting you up for disappointment. He's positioning you for a divine encounter that will mark the before and after of your entire existence. The consequence of ignoring December 3rd, you stay the same. The consequence of honoring it, you're never the same again. So right now, before we go any deeper, I need you to make a declaration, not just in your heart, not just in your mind, but out loud where the spiritual realm can hear it. Type it in the comments. Say it in your living room. Declare it over your life with the authority of someone who refuses to miss their moment. I will not miss my moment. December 3rd is my day. Heaven has my attention, because what I'm about to show you next will reveal exactly what you need to do on December 3rd to position yourself for the breakthrough God has been preparing since before you were born. Now listen closely, because what I'm about to tell you will separate those who are spiritually awake from those who are merely religious. God is not silent. He never has been. But on December 3rd, he's turning up the volume. You see, most people think God speaks in thunder and lightning, in dramatic moments that shake the earth. But for you, for the seasoned saints who've walked with him through decades of fire, God speaks differently. He speaks in whispers that only trained ears can hear. He speaks in signs that only watchful eyes can see. And on December 3rd, those signs will become unmistakable. Let me tell you exactly what to watch for. Not because I'm a prophet, but because Scripture is clear. My sheep hear my voice, and I know them, and they follow me. John 10:27. On December 3rd, that voice will cut through every distraction, every doubt, every decade of disappointment. The first sign will come as a memory. Sudden, vivid, unexplained. You'll be sitting at your kitchen table, or folding laundry, or staring out the window, and suddenly, a moment from 30 years ago will flash before your eyes with such clarity it takes your breath away. Maybe it's a conversation you had with your mother before she passed. Maybe it's a promise you made to God when you were young. Maybe it's a dream you buried so long ago you forgot it ever existed. Don't dismiss this as nostalgia. Don't chalk it up to old age playing tricks on your mind. That memory is not random, it's resurrection. God is reminding you of something he planted in you long before life tried to bury it. That memory is a seed. He's been watering in secret, and December 3rd is when it breaks through the soil. Why would God bring up your past? Because your future is hidden in it. Because the calling you thought expired is about to be renewed. Because what you buried in grief, God preserved in glory. The second sign will be stillness. Divine stillness. Somewhere during December 3rd, you're going to feel it. A pause, a holy hush that settles over your spirit like fresh snow. The chaos will quiet. The anxiety will lift. And for just a moment, maybe while you're drinking your morning coffee, maybe while you're sitting in your favorite chair, you'll feel the presence of God so thick you could cut it with a knife. Psalm 46:10 says, "Be still and know that I am God." But this isn't the stillness of meditation or relaxation. This is the stillness that comes before God moves. This is the calm before the divine storm. This is the moment when heaven leans in close and whispers, "Watch what I'm about to do." Now here's what's going to happen when you feel that stillness. The enemy is going to tell you to turn on the TV, check your phone, distract yourself, fill the silence with noise, because he knows that if you stay in that stillness long enough, you'll hear instructions that will change everything. Don't you dare move. Don't you dare run from that moment. That stillness is not emptiness. That stillness is fullness waiting to speak. The third sign will be an encounter. Unexpected, perfectly timed, undeniably divine. It might be a phone call from someone you haven't heard from in years. It might be a text message that says exactly what you needed to hear. It might be a stranger in the grocery store who speaks a word that pierces your soul. It might even be an inner prompting so strong you can't ignore it, a sudden knowing that you need to pray for someone, reach out to someone, forgive someone, release something. Acts 10 tells us that Cornelius had a vision at the 9th hour, specific, timed, divine. And because he didn't dismiss it as coincidence, an entire household was saved. Your encounter on December 3rd won't be coincidence either. It will be coordination, heaven orchestrating circumstances to confirm that you're exactly where God wants you. But here's the urgency you need to understand. These signs won't wait for you to be ready. They won't pause while you figure out if you believe. December 3rd is coming, whether you're watching or not. The question is, will you recognize what God is showing you, or will you explain it away? Think of December 3rd as a lighthouse turning toward your direction. For months, maybe years, that light has been sweeping across the ocean, passing over everyone else. But on this day, this specific day, the beam stops. It locks onto you. It illuminates exactly where you are and exactly where you need to go. The signs won't be subtle. They can't be, because your destiny cannot afford misinterpretation anymore. You don't have another decade to wander in circles. You don't have another 5 years to second-guess your calling. God is making this so clear that even your doubt will have to shut its mouth. But you have to be watching, you have to be listening, you have to be willing to say, Lord, open my eyes. Say it right now. Don't wait. Whisper it where you're sitting. Lord, open my eyes on December 3rd. Let me see what you're showing me. Let me hear what you're speaking. Don't let me miss this. Because, beloved, the signs are coming. But the real question isn't whether God will show up. The question is, will you? You know what nobody talks about at church? The loneliness that sits in your chest at 3 a.m. when the house is too quiet and your phone hasn't buzzed in 3 days. Nobody mentions the weight you carry when your own children are too busy for Sunday dinner, when grandchildren you helped raise don't remember your birthday, when the life you built for decades feels like it belonged to someone else entirely. You sit in that chair, the same chair you've sat in for 40 years, and wonder if anyone would notice if you just weren't here anymore. I'm talking to you right now. Yes, you, the one who smiles at church but cries in the car afterward. The one who says I'm fine but hasn't been fine since 2003. The one who's carried regret so long it feels like a second spine holding you upright. You think God doesn't see that wound. You think heaven doesn't hear the prayers you're too ashamed to say out loud. Listen to me carefully, beloved. That wound you've been hiding, the one you think disqualifies you, the one you think proves you're not worthy, the one you think means God has moved on without you, that wound is not your weakness. It's your altar. An altar is where heaven meets earth. It's where the ordinary becomes sacred. It's where sacrifice transforms into resurrection. And that place in your heart that still trembles when you think about what you've lost, who you've buried, what you could have been, that's exactly where God wants to meet you on December 3rd. You see, there's something powerful happening in Scripture that most people miss. In John 20, when Jesus appeared to Thomas after the resurrection, he didn't hide his wounds, he showed them. Put your finger here. See my hands. Reach out your hand and put it into my side. The resurrected Christ kept his scars. Why? Because wounds that have been touched by God become testimonies. They become doorways. They become the very proof that you survived what should have killed you. Your wound was never meant to be hidden. It was meant to be healed. And healing doesn't mean the scar disappears, it means the pain finally has purpose. How many of you right now are carrying wounds from choices you made 40 years ago, 50 years ago? You've asked God to forgive you 1,000 times, but you've never forgiven yourself. You've begged for a second chance, but you don't believe you deserve one at your age. That belief is killing you. Not physically, spiritually. It's keeping you locked in a prison where you're both the inmate and the warden. But imagine this, just imagine for a moment. What if God is placing his hand right now as these words wash over you on the exact part of your heart that still trembles? The part you thought was too damaged to repair. The part you've given up on. What if December 3rd is the day he speaks directly to that wound and says, enough. You've carried this long enough. I'm taking it now. Psalm 147:3 says, He heals the broken-hearted and binds up their wounds. Not he might heal, not he could heal, if you were better, stronger, younger. He heals, present tense, active, intentional. But here's what breaks my heart. Some of you have lived with this wound so long, you've made peace with the pain. You've accepted that this is just who you are now. The divorced one, the forgotten one, the one whose kids don't call, the one who made that choice you can't take back. You've stopped believing that God can do anything new in your life because you've stopped believing you deserve anything new. That stops today, right now, this moment. What breaks you before December 3rd is exactly what God will restore on December 3rd. Think about the widow at Zarephath in 1 Kings 17. She was down to her last meal, literally preparing to die with her son. She had accepted her fate, but when the prophet asked her to give what little she had left, something shifted. Her surrender became her supply. Her emptiness became her abundance. Your wound, the one you think is your ending, is actually your beginning. The pain you've carried is about to become the platform from which God demonstrates His power. The regret that's haunted you for decades is about to be transformed into a testimony that sets others free. But you have to bring it to the altar. You have to stop hiding it, medicating it, pretending it doesn't exist. You have to lay it down on December 3rd and say, God, I can't carry this anymore. If you're real, if you still care, if there's any hope left for someone like me, prove it. That's not doubt, that's desperation. And desperation is the language heaven responds to fastest. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to do something. Place your hand on your chest. Feel your heartbeat. That rhythm, that steady pulse is proof that God isn't done writing your story. Every beat is Him saying, still here, still fighting, still believing in you when you've stopped believing in yourself. Now whisper it, don't type it yet. Just whisper it where you are. Heal me, Lord. Say it again. Heal me, Lord. Heaven hears whispers louder than shouts, because whispers come from the deepest part of your soul, from the place where pretending stops and truth begins. But here's what you need to understand as we move forward. Healing isn't just about fixing what's broken. It's about revealing what's been hidden. And what God is about to reveal on December 3rd will shock you, because the blessing isn't coming despite your wound. It's coming because of it. You want to know why it's taken so long, don't you? Why you've prayed for 30, 40, 50 years and heaven seemed silent. Why others got their breakthrough in their 20s while you're still waiting in your 70s. Why the blessing you've been believing for feels like it died somewhere between your youth and your golden years. Let me tell you something that's going to shake everything you thought you knew about God's timing. God doesn't move late. He moves layered. What you've been calling delay, heaven has been calling development. What you've been calling silence, the Almighty has been calling strategy. And what you thought was God forgetting you was actually God protecting you from receiving something your character couldn't yet sustain. Listen to me carefully. There's a reason why Abraham didn't receive Isaac at 25. There's a reason why Moses didn't face Pharaoh at 40. There's a reason why David spent years in caves before he ever touched the throne. Because some blessings are so massive, so weighty, so life-altering that if they came too soon, they would crush you instead of crown you. You think you were ready at 30? You weren't. You think you deserved it at 50? You didn't understand what you were asking for. But now, right now, at this exact moment in your life, you've been refined enough, tested enough, broken enough, and rebuilt enough to finally handle what God has been holding in heaven's vault with your name on it. He waited until your heart could carry the blessing without breaking beneath it. Think about Job for a moment. The Bible says he was the most righteous man on earth, yet God allowed him to lose everything. His children, his wealth, his health, his reputation gone in a matter of days. Why? Because what God wanted to give Job in his latter days was so extraordinary that it required a level of spiritual maturity that comfort could never produce. Job 42:12 tells us plainly, The Lord blessed the latter part of Job's life more than the former part. The latter part, not the beginning, not the middle, the end. Some of you right now are living in your latter part, and you've been so focused on what you lost in your former days that you can't see what God is positioning in your final days. You've been mourning your past instead of preparing for your present. You've been crying over what didn't happen at 40 instead of positioning yourself for what's about to explode at 70. But here's what you need to understand. The reason God waited until now, until December 3rd of this year, is because you finally have something the younger generation doesn't have. You have scars that taught you humility. You have disappointments that taught you dependence. You have losses that taught you what really matters. You have decades of walking with God that have built an unshakable foundation. And God doesn't give kingdom authority to people who've never been tested by kingdom pressure. You were not denied. You were being prepared. You were not forgotten. You were being fortified. You were not passed over. You were being positioned. Every tear you cried in secret, God was collecting them in bottles. Psalm 56:8 says, "You keep track of all my sorrows. You have collected all my tears in your bottle. Every prayer you whispered at 3 a.m. when you thought no one was listening, heaven was recording them. Every moment you wanted to give up but chose to take one more step, angels were taking notes. Because the blessing that's coming on December 3rd isn't just for you, it's for everyone connected to you. Your children who've been struggling, your grandchildren who've been lost, your community that's been dying. God didn't just prepare a blessing, He prepared a deliverer. And deliverance requires someone who knows how to survive when everything says quit. Think about the widow in 1 Kings 17. Elijah came to her door during the worst famine in the land and asked for her last meal, her last handful of flour, her last drop of oil, everything she had left to keep her and her son from starving to death. And what did God do? He didn't replenish her supply until she was down to nothing. Why? Because abundance in the hands of someone who's never known lack creates entitlement. But abundance in the hands of someone who's stared death in the face creates generosity. You've been staring death in the face, haven't you? Financial death, emotional death, physical death, relational death. But you're still here, still breathing, still believing. And that's not luck, that's proof that God has been sustaining you for something bigger than your survival. December 3rd is not God's late answer, it is God's perfect appointment. And here's what's going to blow your mind. Everything you thought you lost, every relationship, every opportunity, every moment you believed was wasted, God has been calculating the return on your faithfulness. Romans 8:28 doesn't say some things work together for good, it says all things. All means all. Every betrayal, every disappointment, every closed door, every doctor's report, every financial crisis, all of it has been working toward December 3rd. But you have to be ready to receive it. You have to stop living like your best days are behind you. You have to stop believing that your age disqualifies you. You have to stop thinking that God's promise died when your body started aging. Chosen ones, if this is hitting your spirit right now, if something deep inside you just recognized truth, type, "I'm ready now" in the comments. Don't just watch, participate. Because what happens next depends entirely on whether you're willing to believe that God's timing isn't late, it's layered. So let me ask you something that's going to determine everything. Are you ready to finally receive what you've been prepared to carry? Listen to me, chosen one. While you've been sitting in your living room wondering if God still remembers you exist, something has been happening in the throne room of heaven that would shake you to your core if you could see it. Your name is being discussed in places where angels stand at attention. I know you don't feel significant. I know you look at your life and see an old body, a small apartment, adult children who barely call, a bank account that never seems to grow. You've convinced yourself that your season of mattering is over, that God's big plans are for younger people with energy and Instagram followers and relevance. But what if I told you that's the biggest lie the enemy has ever sold you? Right now, this very moment, there are conversations happening in the courts of heaven about you. Not about some celebrity preacher, not about some 25-year-old influencer, about you, the 78-year-old grandmother in Queens who thinks nobody sees her anymore, the 82-year-old widower in the Bronx who feels invisible. Revelation 5-8 shows us that the 24 elders fell down before the Lamb, each having a harp and golden bowls full of incense, which are the prayers of the saints. Every prayer you've whispered in the dark, every tear you've cried when the loneliness felt unbearable, they're stored in golden bowls before the throne. And on December 3rd, those bowls are being tipped. But here's what's going to shock you. This isn't just about you receiving something. This is about you becoming something. After December 3rd, you will not walk the same, you will not pray the same, you will not carry yourself the same, because something is shifting in the spiritual atmosphere over your life. And when it settles on you, people will notice even if they can't explain what changed. You will move like someone who knows the throne room, remembers your face. Think about Moses, 80 years old, 80, when he went up that mountain and met with God. And when he came down, Exodus 34-29 says his face was so radiant that people couldn't even look at him. He didn't get younger, he didn't get richer, but he carried something that terrified Pharaoh and parted seas. That same presence is being transferred to you. You see, the world measures authority by titles and bank accounts and social media followers, but heaven measures authority by proximity to the presence. And you, yes, you who've spent decades in prayer closets while others built platforms you've been positioning yourself in, places the famous will never reach. After December 3rd, when you speak, something will shift in the atmosphere. When you pray over your grandchildren, generational curses will snap. When you walk into a room, the spiritual temperature will change. Not because you got louder or more charismatic, but because you finally stopped apologizing for the anointing you carry. But here's the part that's going to wreck you. You're not stepping into a blessing. The blessing is stepping into you. Do you understand what that means? For years, you've been chasing breakthrough, begging for favor, pleading for God to remember you. But what's about to happen on December 3rd isn't you finally catching what you've been chasing. It's heaven catching up to where you've been planted. In John 15:16, Jesus said, "You did not choose me, but I chose you and appointed you that you should go and bear fruit." Appointed. That word in Greek is tithemi. It means positioned, placed, set. God hasn't forgotten where He put you. He's been waiting for the exact moment when your obedience and His timing collide. And that moment is December 3rd. This is your spiritual promotion. Not a promotion at work, those days are done. Not a promotion in status, the world already wrote you off. This is a promotion in the Spirit. You're moving from servant to son, from beggar to heir, from forgotten to favored. The authority being released over your life will make demons nervous and angels rejoice. Your very presence will become prophetic. Your words will carry weight they never carried before. Your prayers will move mountains you couldn't budge for decades. But you have to claim it. You have to speak it. You have to stop whispering and start declaring. Say it right now, wherever you are. Don't just think it, speak it out loud. Heaven knows my name. Say it again with authority. Heaven knows my name. Because, beloved, if heaven knows your name, hell better recognize your authority. If the throne room is discussing your assignment, the enemy's kingdom is about to experience your impact. But what exactly happens on December 3rd? What is this transfer, this shift, this moment that changes everything? Now, listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to tell you could determine whether you walk through that door or watch it close in your face. There is one thing, one absolute requirement that heaven is placing on December 3rd. And if you violate it, even unknowingly, you could cancel everything God has been positioning in your favor. On December 3rd, you must not speak negativity, not even as a joke, not even in passing, not even in that familiar way you've complained for decades about your health, your money, your loneliness, your children who don't call. I know what you're thinking. It's just words, it's just venting. But beloved, December 3rd is not like every other day. Your words on that day will carry unusual weight in the spiritual realm. Let me show you why this matters. Proverbs 18:21 declares, "Death and life are in the power of the tongue, not some life, not a little bit of influence, the power of life and death." Your tongue is not just a muscle in your mouth, it's a weapon that either builds or destroys your future. Think about this. When God created the universe, how did He do it? He spoke, "Let there be light," and light exploded into existence. Genesis 1 shows us that words don't just describe reality, they create it. And you were made in His image. That means your words carry creative power too. But here's what most people don't understand. There are specific moments when the spiritual atmosphere becomes supercharged, when the veil between heaven and earth grows thin, when your declarations don't just float into the air, they penetrate realms you cannot see and set forces into motion you cannot control. December 3rd is one of those moments. On that day, the door God has prepared for you will be standing open, but your words will determine whether you walk through it or slam it shut. James 3-5 warns us, "The tongue is a small part of the body, but it makes great boasts. Consider what a great forest is set on fire by a small spark." One sentence, one complaint, one moment of speaking defeat instead of victory, and you could ignite a fire that burns down what took God years to build for you. Let me paint you a picture. You wake up on December 3rd. Your arthritis is flaring. Your bank account looks the same as it did yesterday. The phone isn't ringing. And in that moment of frustration, you say what you've said 1,000 times before. Nothing ever changes. "I'm too old. This is just how my life is." Those words feel harmless to you, but in the spirit, they're not harmless. They're declarations of agreement with limitation. They're contracts signed with defeat. And on December 3rd, when heaven is trying to release breakthrough, your negative words create interference that blocks the very blessing racing toward you. Numbers 14 tells the story of the Israelites at the edge of the promised land. They could see it. They were one step away from everything God promised, but they spoke fear instead of faith. They said, "We can't do this. We're too weak. We'll die out there." And God responded, "As you have spoken in my hearing, so I will do to you." They got exactly what they declared. 40 years of wandering instead of immediate victory. Your words are prophecies over your own life. And on December 3rd, those prophecies will be activated with supernatural acceleration. So here's what you must do. From the moment you open your eyes on December 3rd until you close them that night, guard your mouth like your life depends on it. Because spiritually, it does. When someone asks how you're doing, don't recite your pain. Declare God's promises. When your body screams limitation, speak life. When circumstances look unchanged, speak transformation. Psalm 19:14 becomes your prayer. "Let the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my Redeemer." On December 3rd, your tongue will either build your door or break it. Your words will either activate the blessing or cancel it. Your declarations will either align with heaven's plan or sabotage it. The choice is yours. But choose wisely, because this is not theory. This is spiritual warfare, and the enemy would love nothing more than to use your own mouth to disqualify you from what God is trying to give you. Right now, before we go any further, I need you to make a declaration. Say it out loud wherever you are. My words will align with God. Say it again. My words will align with God. Because what I'm about to show you next will reveal exactly what heaven is releasing on December 3rd and why your words are the final key that unlocks it all. Chosen one, as we come to the end of this sacred moment together, I need you to hold on to 3 truths that will carry you through December 3rd and beyond. First, December 3rd is not just another date, it's a divine doorway. Heaven has marked this day specifically for you, and what happens depends on your awareness, your words, and your willingness to step through when God opens the way. Second, your words carry creative power. On December 3rd especially, guard your tongue like you're guarding your destiny. Because, beloved, you are. Death and life are in the power of your words, and one sentence of faith can unlock what years of struggle couldn't. Third, the breakthrough you've been praying for hasn't been delayed because God forgot you. It's been held back because the timing had to be perfect, and that time is now. But I need you to know something deeper than doctrine, something that settles in your bones. You are not walking this path alone. Even when it feels like no one understands, even when the silence has been deafening, even when you've questioned if God still sees you, He has never taken His eyes off you. He's been working behind the scenes, arranging pieces you cannot see, preparing blessings you haven't imagined. And right here in this community, you have thousands of brothers and sisters who understand your struggle, who believe in your calling, who are ready to stand with you in prayer. We are not just viewers on a screen, we are a family united in faith. So let me ask you this. Now that you know December 3rd carries divine significance, how will you prepare your heart? How will you guard your words? How will you position yourself to receive what heaven is about to release? Before you go, let me pray over you. Close your eyes wherever you are and receive this blessing. Heavenly Father, I place my hand on the shoulder of every person hearing these words. You know their names. You know their struggles. You know the decades they've waited for breakthrough. Lord, let December 3rd be their appointed time. Open doors no man can shut. Release blessings they've been praying for. Silence every negative word that tries to rise from their lips. Fill their mouths with declarations of faith, hope, and victory. Surround them with your presence. Remind them they are loved, they are seen, they are not forgotten. And Father, let them walk through that doorway with confidence, knowing you go before them. In Jesus' mighty name, Amen. Now, I want to hear from you. Comment below and tell us what God spoke to your heart today. Share your prayer requests, this community will lift you up. And if this message stirred your spirit, share it with someone who needs to hear that December 3rd is their day too. Thank you for staying with me through this entire journey. Your faithfulness to watch until the end tells me everything about your heart. If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel and turn on notifications. We're building something powerful here, a community of chosen ones who refuse to give up. December 3rd is coming, beloved. Get ready. Your breakthrough has a date. God bless you mightily.